So tell us a little bit about this disclosure. How much gold is traded? I read out one of the headlines there.
So it's 37 billion US dollars and 5 billion US dollars for silver. I think silver doesn't get talked about as much, but it's actually all four precious metals that are there.
And do you agree, was this a number that you think will take the market by surprise? Because my colleagues who follow the gold market suggesting, there were expectations that this was going to be a much bigger number.
I think it's an interesting one. I think it'll raise eyebrows, but I think what's important for us, it's the first snapshot of what will be a fuller picture of real data and real granular data as to the size and volume of the market. Today, we're only announcing last week's data, so that 37 billion is indicative of only 5 days of trading. But as we continue the data set, it'll be interesting to see how it grows.
So any reason to believe that the set of data you've released is not indicative or is, skewed for some seasonal effects or something?
No, what I would say is it's not the complete picture. And part of that is currently we have all market makers included. That was a major point from our perspective. But partly it's a misconception that LBMA is an exchange or there's a magic database out there that has all of this information in terms of total trade. That didn't exist until we launched it this week. So now we have the market makers there. We have many of our what we call full members or trading members. But we have another 15 joining in January. And we also look at the OTC market outside of just LBMA.
So there could be data from other places coming in to be added here. So how many banks currently participate?
So there's 13 market-making banks, and then there's 45 trading members in addition to that. But that's a combination of trading houses and not just banks as well.
So how does this help you in bringing transparency and trust into the gold market? Because I think that was something that you were trying to do with the release of this data.
Absolutely. And so I think we first started that initiative when we launched the Vault data last summer. And you have 340 billion US dollars worth of gold. And now that's become a data set that sits behind and that comes out on a regular basis, and it gives more certainty in terms of the stocks. Previously, I think while you have some eyebrows raised as to what the correct multiplier should be, right now we have actual data to deal with, and I think that's a big difference. So ultimately, you will start to see the bigger picture. As I said before, it's just a week's snapshot, but in 12 months' time, it'll be very interesting to have a fuller look at this.
Where has this drive for transparency come from? There have been controversies around the gold market, around conflict gold or around market rigging. Is this an attempt to put a stop to that kind of talk?
Well, I think ultimately the challenge is the gold market in London is OTC and bilateral. So any decision to put statistics up, first you have to gather them and then you have to get permission. I think one of the biggest challenges we've faced in putting this data together is satisfying the banks that their clients are protected and that none of the positions can be exposed. And that was quite a challenge to do. I think we're there now. It's one of the reasons you see the data is just 5-day aggregates at the moment. We do intend to go to daily reporting, but we just want to see the data for 3 months, get comfortable with it, and then move to that next step.
How do you think your data set compares to data sets that are available in New York and other places? Because a lot of what my colleagues were interested in here was, how big is the London Bullion Market versus New York, for example, versus other places? How does your data, the transparency it provides, what is available in other places?
Well, I think that's what's going to be interesting in terms of the relationship with COMEX and London has always been a partnership in terms of you have future trading or paper trading and you have the physical trading here in London. So we only have a week, so comparing like for like, they're quite similar. COMEX is leading in the last week, but we'll have to see how that evolves as we go forward.